Welcome to TYA Talk. If you're watching this live or if you're watching this in the near future of recording, Happy New Year. Today is January 2nd of 2024. New beginning, new period for us. Of course, like everything else, our calendar is a human construct, but it's okay because it gives us framework for our belief systems, and our belief systems are how we operate our lives, how we experience physical. All physical beings operate in some sort of a belief system. And part of my belief system that I share, that I think probably share with all of you that listen, is the eternal nature of our consciousness. But we don't have any proof of that, do we? There is absolutely no proof that we are eternal beings and that our consciousness moves on from this physical experience that we're in. We know in our physical reality that our physical vehicle, our body, has a beginning, middle, and an end in the experience, that our body absolutely, once we are no longer alive, however you want to describe that, our body transitions to another state of being. And scientists say that energy is neither created nor destroyed. So if you think about in terms of our physical body, well, our physical body absolutely is a creation or a co-creation physically from our parents. So once that new creation in physical occurs, it is going to move on to another state, even if that state is ultimately just dust, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, right? But the consciousness that powers it, to me, that is energy. There's an energy that flows through us that's powering this physical vehicle, and it's a unique strand of consciousness in every lifetime and every being. This is my belief, that it's a unique strand of consciousness. And this is what the stream shares with us. So if you're into the stream's teachings, this is what they share, that this unique strand of consciousness is created, and that unique strand of consciousness is eternal. But I will have to tell you, I've thought about this a lot. I've gone really deep into what the stream is offering. The strand of consciousness that is us, as we know ourselves as our physical being in this lifetime, we don't take that exact consciousness and drop it into another lifetime. Now, I know that there are certainly several people that have recollections of past experiences, but I don't believe that they were them in that past experience. I think that they are tapping into something that is what I call source. I think source is all of it. Source, it's hard for us to comprehend source being all creation, the consciousness of all creation, if you will. But that's what I perceive when I am channeling the stream, that it is everything and everyone, always and forever. And we are part of that. And we are an expression that is a unique expression of that, projection of that into physical, because that unique expression has the physical journey that creates the expansion of consciousness. And there was a time that it was comforting for me to think, well, I'm an eternal strand of consciousness. So if my life ends right now, then I simply go on to being something else. I do believe that that's true, but I don't believe that how I know myself as David Strickel is going to then go be born again into another state of being, and that this strand of consciousness is just going to pick up and move on in that. I think source expressing itself in ever increasing sophistication, and that increasing sophistication is achieved in the having of physical experiences. And we know the physical experiences, we know it is a combination of desires and obstacles. We absolutely come and discern preferences, and that's the key function of our ego. I like this, I don't like that. In the womb, anyone that has ever been pregnant, as I have not, can tell you that their baby that they're carrying has preferences. There are things that they learn in the 9 months of or so of carrying that child that there are things that the baby responds differently to, and those are preferences. And certainly post-birth, that child is going to start establishing preferences. I like warmth. I like soothing. I like comfort. I don't like cold. I don't like hunger. I don't like having a dirty diaper. I don't like loud noises. I know what I like, and these are my preferences, and this is what I am seeking to manifest more of my desires. But we know that polarity is going to play with our vibration as we start to establish beliefs, and that when polarity drags our vibration down, there are times that we're going to go down into a lower vibrational place, and we're going to manifest the things that we don't want, or some of the things that we don't want. And we do that by design so that we can experience these unwanted things and move through the experience and ultimately have the opportunity to solve or change or grow or evolve as a result of the unwanted experience. So our desires are what drive us. I want to travel the world. I want to eat good food. I want to laugh. I want to have a good time. I want to relax. I want to be comfortable. I want to feel good. Those are the things that create our desires, the pleasures of being human. And that keeps us going. Those future pleasures are what keep us moving forward. I want to experience another holiday season. I want to see snow again. I love waking up and hearing the birds chirp. I love seeing the blue sky. I love the change in seasons. I love, that I'm going to go have my morning coffee tomorrow morning. That keeps us moving through the experience. And those desires are our drivers. That's the thing that keeps most of us from just shutting down due to our obstacles. And of course, if we are operating in a general vibration of a lower vibrational state, we know if we're down in -10, -15, that we are going to then be experiencing more of the things that we don't want. And generally, we have trained ourselves to really focus on the should not be part of our obstacles. That's what holds us in low vibration. Every time we experience something and we judge it as should not be, and it was so terrible, it was so awful, it was the most traumatic thing ever, oh my gosh, I hope this never happens again, we're fueling more of that. And the universe is always answering yes. So the universe is going to say, this is what you're focused on, you're going to get more of it. This is how the universe creates this mix of desires and obstacles for us, because it's not judging our experience. We have decided to judge our experience. And certainly we have manifested in a matrix of beliefs for humanity that heavily judges our experiences. But there is value in that heavy judgment of our experience, this thing that we call the matrix, created a sped up or a more amped up version, if you will, of both desires and challenges. And that propelled us forward in our ability to create. And when we decided we didn't want to live in the wilderness anymore, then we solved that problem by creating communities and creating structures and creating fire and the ability to cook food and heat our homes and live in more comfort. So those things that we perceived as should not be actually did motivate us to create. And here we've created all the way to this ability to communicate globally, to share ideas, to start realizing that, wow, all the things that we were indoctrinated into as a child were really there to create structure and ultimately control us so that we behaved in a certain way that honored and fed society, if you will, that absolutely honored the desires of the collective to have structure and have education and have the rule of law and have all of these things that create a society. And they're not all bad. I often say we all want to live in freedom and joy, but I'm very happy that we have traffic laws and that we have red lights and we have, stoplights and things like that, create some order and some structure so that we can experience life in a different way. I'm glad that I can get in my car and drive across town and go sit in a restaurant and be served a lovely dinner and drive home in an orderly way. If we didn't have this matrix, we wouldn't have that. We wouldn't have this. We wouldn't have this ability to tune into somebody that you connect with vibrationally and listen to their words and allow those words to spark new thoughts and ideas within you and create expansion of consciousness for you. We wouldn't have this stuff, but here we are. We have it. We've been at this now for a little while, and we've shared ideas enough to where we've evolved to the point of collectively questioning the same things. And what we tend to do in our matrix, though, is that we're really, really comfortable with the structure, and we're really, really comfortable with the idea of something being our savior. And we're really, really comfortable with the idea of being eternal. And we're really comfortable with these ideas that we're taught in religion, but there's certain aspects of it we're not comfortable with. So we decide we're going to become spiritual. And then we get into spirituality and we start kind of exploring the big 10 of spirituality. And then we learn that, okay, there's all these different beliefs in there too. And some of them are more like religion. There's all these rules. You can't eat meat. You've got to meditate. You've got to understand your chakras. You've got to clear all that stuff. You need to have crystals. Essential oils raise your vibration. All of these other things are just more human created beliefs. And that belief that we're an eternal strand of consciousness, as I said earlier, for a while allowed me to really be at peace with everything that's going on in our world, because the stream was very, very clear that source is not judging the most severe, most horrific aspects of humanity and earthly life. It should not be. Ever, 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 ever. And coming to terms with that and wrapping your mind around that in this matrix takes work and takes time. But I will tell you, when I fully got to that space where I'm fully understanding and in appreciation of what it's like to move through a suffering experience and expand in the having of it, even if it ends you, even if you were murdered, that's still just an experience, as opposed to something that's truly ending that which you are. You're an eternal strand of consciousness, and it's simply ending this physical experience that is one in infinite physical experiences. And that belief leads me to experience life in a very different way, very differently. And I really like the way that I experience life. I like this belief system, but I'm always aware that I'm still choosing it. I'm always aware that I have no concrete evidence of anything really, but I certainly don't have concrete evidence that we're eternal beyond what I channel, which is absolutely very, very revealing to me in what that's all about. And that's my belief system. But that's everyone's journey to take or not. There's one thing interesting about the stream is that it's not preached as gospel. It's not preached as something that, it's not preached at all, but it's not taught as something that you must believe, because there's no consequence for not believing in it. And maybe if we did a must believe, we'd have a lot more followers and a big business around it, like some of these mega churches and stuff. But that's just not what the message is. And I want the message to be authentic. So here we are. Here we are. It's boutique. It's small. It's for those that are finding their way and landing on something that sounds like truth to them, because it's stripped of all of that ego created matrix stuff. And there's not a whole lot of us, but it's growing, and I know it will. I'm very happy with it. It took me a while to let go of the need for business around all of this and just say, hey, it'll be what it is. I'm going to let the universe take care of me no matter what. And I've proven to myself that that's true. So I have yet to experience anything that the stream has shared that has turned out not to be true. Plenty of things that I have come up with in my ego consciousness that have turned out for me not to be true. Absolutely. And every time I dip back into ego, I find, what an illusion all that stuff is. But then when I let go of the ego and I simply allow source, it is yet to steer me wrong ever in any way. And so I really do go deeper into that message and really rely on that appreciation of all things. When I see things posted on Facebook that, oh my gosh, this person is suffering, this is horrible, you must help now, you've got to do it, I'm not really moved by that. And the Matrix says that makes me this cold-hearted, evil, callous individual. But I really started to explore that. I'm like, well, no, I'm not. I don't want anyone to suffer. I don't want to suffer myself. I don't want to see other people suffer. I don't desire that. But I appreciate the fact that we all do. And I appreciate the fact that that's that individual's journey. So I no longer need to rely on this concept of being eternal to not fear death and to not judge and fear our obstacles, including those that we witness in other people. Maybe I die and I just cease to be, and I'm completely at peace with that. That coming around to that source level of knowing has delivered me there. That if David Strickel, this persona that I am, ceases to be, well, so much of it is still my human ego. So I expect that to happen. I expect that to be the experience when I pass on. And for all I know, when this physical vehicle is done, whether it's this afternoon or years from now, it may be just like when I was put under for my surgery. I was completely out. I don't know if you've ever been put under for surgery. I've been put under a few times. I actually love the experience, but completely, put under. Have no recollection of it whatsoever. It's just like you cease to be. It seems like, I know it's not, but it seems like your consciousness is just completely shut down and you cease to be for that period of time, so that you are not suffering in the surgical experience in that case. And maybe that's eternal. Maybe everything goes black and we cease to be, and this consciousness was an experience that was absolutely part of the physical experience. I'm completely fine with that. But I think it's helpful when the stream tells us that we are eternal strands of consciousness, because I do believe that, even though I'm saying maybe anything's possible. And that's what the stream says about conspiracy theories, or any theory really, that anything is possible. Most things are not probable, because most of the theories that we come up with are just new ideas that we hatch that really don't go anywhere, but we choose to give them power through our beliefs or not. So you observe something, and maybe it's intriguing to you or triggering to you in some way or some combination of that, and you explore it. And at the end of the exploration, you're realizing that, hey, I'm the one that's giving this thing power with my focus. If I take my focus away from it, it will simply cease to be for me. So maybe our whole physical experience is that. And that's okay. It doesn't matter. We are here having a physical experience. There is no evidence that it's supposed to be a specific number of years or operate in a specific way. We don't see any evidence of that. The concept of creating your own reality, aka the law of attraction, which is really the more I get into it, the more I realize what a horrible, misleading term that really is. But it sells. I get it. It sells. Think about something, you attract it, boom, it's there. But it's not working all the time for anyone. Certainly, there are people that are better at attracting the things they desire than others, but no one is attracting everything they want all the time. Everyone has challenges. Everyone has obstacles. Everyone has failures. Everyone has things that they have to deal with. And everyone has a physical vehicle that is deteriorating in the operation of it and is ultimately going to stop functioning and return your consciousness to whatever, or move your consciousness to whatever's next, whether it's nothingness or back into source, or back as the persona, as yourself as you know it, having an experience somewhere else. We know that's going to happen. We know that there is a myriad of experiences, everything from being born into extreme poverty and not living very long, to living 100 years plus, to living a very luxurious, comfortable life, to living in challenges and struggles, and living in complete turmoil all the time. We see that. We see evidence that all of these people that we're exposed to in our world now are all having these different experiences. And you ask yourself, well, why would somebody project into living in North Korea, where this oppressive regime has been in control for so long, and they lived in such an oppressed way, as far as we know? Why would someone project into famine, and being covered in bugs, and starving as a child? Why would someone choose that? Why would someone choose being born into these Middle Eastern countries that are always at war? I won't go too deep into who's who and what's what with all of that, because it's such a controversial thing now. I don't want to give that power. But why would someone choose that? Why would you choose to be born into a situation where your country is always at war and you're always at the brink of disaster? Well, those of us listening to this probably are not having that experience. We are in relative comfort and ease if we're listening to this and exploring these things. We have the luxury of that. We have manifested into a scenario that allowed this path to open up to be really the leading edge of human exploration of thought. But there's this spectrum of beliefs, and projecting at the forefront of the spectrum where we are projecting into more comfort and more time and availability of information and time to think and ponder and to do, it's a luxury, right? It's a luxury. None of us that are exploring this stuff are just surviving. We might feel like we are emotionally if you found your way here, but really we're not. If you've got an internet connection, you've got a device, and you've got a comfortable, quiet space to consume some of this, you're living a comfortable existence compared to a lot of the world. You are. And it's okay. I don't believe that we're here to feel guilty about that. We chose this path. This is what we're in. We get to explore these things. I think the exploration in this way is the leading edge of human consciousness. The concept of coming all the way around to releasing the matrix, to moving ourselves out of all of that matrix belief, for really seeing it for what it is, for seeing the matrix as all of these elements of control that were necessary to move humanity to this space where we are, where those of us that are choosing this type of experience are fortunate enough to be at the forefront of thought, where we can really take time to explore these things. We're not in survival mode. We're not outrunning the thing that wants to devour us for dinner. We're not outrunning the people that want to slaughter us for who we are. In most cases, we're not having that experience if we're doing these types of things. So here we are at the forefront, and the moment we feel guilty about being at the forefront, boom, we've lowered our vibration, we've separated from source, and we're going to create our own version of some sort of suffering to level the playing field, because we think it's our duty to go and suffer more like other people are suffering. But that's just the matrix telling us that. I look at it like this. This is all my ego. This is not source. My ego is saying, hey, you are fortunate enough to be born a white male in the United States. Yeah, you're gay, but that hasn't really affected you that much, or you haven't let it. But you're at this place where you do have. I don't like the word privilege. God, I really don't like that word. But you have this privilege of living this life where you are in a financial situation and a security situation where you can really spend your days exploring this stuff. Now, what are you going to do with that? That's my ego, but that's how I hold myself accountable. What am I going to do with that? I've been given so much. I could go sit on my ass right now and drink coffee and play with the dog and spend the whole day doing that. I can spend the whole day doing that if I want to. And there's nothing wrong. Source is not saying don't do that. That's the thing. Source is not saying, hey, you lazy ass, you need to go do something and be useful with this. Source doesn't care. Source is not judging. Go sit on your ass, gain some more weight, sit on your ass and eat and watch TV and have I don't ever eat a bag of potato chips, but whatever it is you want to do, go do that. If you've got that much comfort in your life that you can do that and nothing is motivating you to get up, go do that. I could do that. But I sit there and I would think to myself, well, gosh, I've got this fantastic opportunity that most of humanity doesn't have. What am I going to do with that? What am I going to do with that? And it's totally my ego discerning that preference of, hey, I want to go deep. I want to meditate. I want to disconnect all of this crap that's just mindless entertainment. And I want to meditate. I want to go inward. What is available when I go inward? And when I go inward, and you all know I go really deep inward, that's where everything is different. Like, wow, there's this whole world, there's this whole universe in there. It's not out there somewhere. It's in there. You go inward, there's this whole reverse universe that operates so differently than this. And when I take that and apply it in my 3D human life, life gets better. Not because I'm crushing it in every way and I'm, having every car that I want to have and living in the biggest mansion and spending time on my yacht and the private jet and all this crap that you see on Instagram that we're supposed to be wanting. It's not that at all. That stuff is fine, but what it is that clarity of all of this judgment and all of this fear and all of this anxiety is a chosen experience that I don't have to choose, that I can observe my own life and observe the outer world in pure, authentic appreciation of exactly what is. And that is the most magical thing I've ever experienced in my life. And I have been on a yacht and I have flown in a private jet. I've driven expensive cars and owned expensive cars and lived in beautiful homes and had great experiences. I've done those things, but nothing compares to that. Nothing compares to the amazing clarity that is what we call source. And that clarity of all of this is an illusion, all of this is just an experience. And the only reason any of it creates suffering is because we have picked up along the way this concept that we're supposed to judge things as should not be. That's the suffering. That's the trauma right there. This should not be happening to me. That should not be happening to them. That should have never happened to me. That was wrong. It was evil. It was bad. Should not be. But that's bullshit. That's just something that somebody taught you to think that you decided to agree with. Oh, yeah, I'm traumatized. It's going to hurt me forever. I'll never be the same again. Oh, it was so painful. I will tell you that I have experienced deep physical pain so bad that I never got to the point where I didn't want to be anymore because the physical pain was happening when I was already channeling. But not long ago, I was in such physical pain that when I would move wrong, or I would get out of bed in the morning, anytime, and every time I woke up, every single time I woke up, it felt like I had a knife jabbed into my back. Mhm. I have been in such physical pain that I couldn't walk, I couldn't move, I couldn't get out of bed. Peeing in a jar, that sort of thing. So I've experienced physical pain. I've experienced injury. I've experienced, all of these things. I have experienced emotional pain. I've experienced my mother telling me she wishes I was never born and to kill myself and all that stuff. I've experienced her completely cutting me out of her life for the last 20 years. My mother, the Matrix says your mother is supposed to love you unconditionally. Well, mine didn't. So I've experienced that. So I've experienced, different types of abuse and stuff as a kid. To me, that just wasn't such a big deal for me. And I look at it, if I had bought into society's, oh, that's terrible, that's awful, you'll never be the same person because your mother was this horrible person. Oh my gosh, you poor thing. No, no. I suffered in that for a time. And then I realized I don't have to suffer in this. This isn't me. This is her stuff. I'm here. My parents did their job for me. They they conceived and my mother gave birth. Thank you. That's it. That's it. That's it. And I got to that place. And when I got to that place, there's no trauma. There's not even vibrational dust of trauma left with any of that stuff. And my mother died, and I was completely just at peace with this was her experience. I wasn't happy. I wasn't sad. I don't want to say that I was indifferent. I was really just like, this is her experience. My father just died a couple of months ago. I had the same experience with him. I wasn't sad. I wasn't happy that he was gone or anything like that. I wasn't begrudging. This was a man that came and lived a life. I wasn't particularly connected to him ever. And as I got older, the disconnection seemed to happen even more or be even more prevalent. And he had his journey. He had a lovely life from what I know of him. And he had a lovely passing. And he was on life support with COVID at the end. But that was his experience. And at the end, they took him off of life support. My stepmother and sister were with him, half sister were with him, and he passed peacefully. And I was very appreciative of that. So we can have those experiences. We can have the experience where all you have is that source aligned appreciation of exactly what is and what was. And that's what I'm sharing with all of you, that we can have that. And we have it while we're in physical. And what's next isn't even important, because I'm still in the physical experience, and whatever the death experience is just another experience. This is what it's like. And if I carry that forward to something else, great. If I cease to be, well, guess what? Then I cease to be, and I have no idea that I have ceased to be. So what difference does it make? What difference does it make? This concept that we have to be eternal or have to live a long time or have to have a certain life. That's all ego. That's all ego. So the more you detune your ego, the less you need any experience, including the eternal experience. That's the point of this TYA Talk. You don't need anything. You're appreciating what is, even if what is you ceasing to be in the death experience. And you won't know anyway, so it won't matter. Thanks so much for watching.